back. It is 6:17 on this first Monday of the month of February. Free Legal Advice Day. Attorney Dave Betras is hanging out with us, answering your legal questions free of charge. If you have a question, there's the number down there at the bottom of your screen. Give him a call. We'll hear from you live. We got one from email to start with. You ready to do this?
I'm locked, loaded, ready to go.
All right. So this person said they took someone to small claims court in Camel in November of 2023. They were awarded $1,000 plus $65 for court costs plus 5%. But to this day, they say they haven't received a penny. So they called the Camel court. They said there's nothing they can do to make somebody pay. Is there something that they can do to make sure they get their money? So they took them to small claims court. They won, but they haven't gotten their money.
Well, that's the easy part of the case. The hard part of a case is collecting your money. All right? Mm-hmm. People think they go to small claims court, they win, and then the court goes and collects the money for them. Not how it works. So whoever submitted this question, you have to go into small claims court and ask them for a debtor's exam. Okay. Now, a debtor's exam is where you get to bring the person into court, put them under oath, ask them where their assets are, and then you got to figure out how to go attach those assets. But the court just doesn't automatically collect your money.
How long of a process can that be? I mean, since this person's been waiting for more than a year.
Well, I always tell people this: you can't get blood from a stone. So if the person doesn't have anything, that judgment is about as good as the paper it's written on. But bring them in for a debtor's exam. You could use your Google machine. I know you love it when I say Google machine.
I love it.
I mean, for me, it's just like a mind-blowing thing. Like, I'd have to go up and look questions up in books, and then I just hit, the AI, and it tells me where to go. And they have AI for my Westlaw.
Well, we just had a story on this morning. They have AI for Wendy's drive-through orders at some places.
No, I mean, but you can't rely on it.
Yeah.
You got to go vet everything they say. All right. So go do a debtor's exam, and maybe the court will walk you through that. Go ahead.
All right. This one came from Facebook. This person says they have a question about how a resulting trust works and how it could help in regards with a house issue.
So I'm not sure. I haven't heard that language, resulting trust, residual trust. So a trust is a document where you take all your property and you create like a separate entity. That separate entity is called a trust. You put all your assets into the trust, and then the trust tells the trustee what to do with the beneficiaries. Now, you could put all kinds of bells and whistles on it. I think what she meant was either a springing executory trust. You like that? Huh?
That's a fancy word.
Fancy word. A springing executory trust, or they could have something that's residual from the trust. What they need to do, if they're a beneficiary, is find the trust and take it to a lawyer.
All right. This one also came from Facebook. It says this morning they have to take their car back for rotors and brakes that they had repaired just in November. The third time within a year they've had the same diagnosis, the same problem, rusted out rotors, two diagnoses from two companies saying that the work wasn't done properly. Is there anything they can do about that?
Okay, well, they didn't tell us whether it's a new car or an old car. Mm-hmm. A brand new car, something like that, the lemon laws would work. So we have.
How long does the lemon is that?
I think it's 1 year or 18,000 miles, whichever comes first. You have to have 3 repairs to something that substantially works for substantially part of a car, like brakes. It can be like windshield washer fluid, and if it's not fixed, then they have to buy your car back and give you all your money out.
All right. We do have a caller on the line. Caller, go ahead with your question for Attorney Betras.
Caller on the line.
Yes, my question is, if you lived somewhere for 8.5 years and someone was acting as the landlord but was really subleasing the house to you, they were served eviction and you were not, what is the proper way to be evicted? Does the owners have to contact me to evict me?
So, good question.
Yeah.
She used the word sublease. Not a lot of people hear that. So in a landlord-tenant law, there's a landlord and there's a tenant. The tenant then can take that lease and lease it then to someone else, okay? Mm-hmm. And if the landlord didn't give permission for the tenant to release it, then they're in breach of that agreement. And if you're the person there, a lease is only a possessory interest. The person that's the landlord, he has the ownership interest. So your only property rights is a possessory interest. So if did he send you a 3-day notice? Hello? Okay. Well, usually what they do is they have to send a 3-day notice. If the person is to vacate within 3 days, they file in Ohio what's called a forcible entry and detainer action. Go to court. Court gives them so many days to get out if the landlord is entitled to repossess the possession property, portion of their property that they took.
Can you fight that if you're the renter?
If you are the lessee, you can fight it, but there's grounds. First of all, the landlord has to have grounds to break the lease, and if he has grounds to break the lease, like you didn't pay the rent, you're damaging the property, you're not doing quiet enjoyment, you said you wouldn't have dogs in there, you have dogs in there, you said you'd be the only person living there, 5 people are living there. There's a myriad of reasons. But if you didn't break the terms of the lease, that's a year-long contract, and he can't kick you out of the apartment.
All right, there we go. We got to a lot of topics on this first one. We got another segment on the way. He'll be answering questions in between, too.
I'm going to be with Jody, the meteorologist. I'm going to be with Jody, the meteorologist, in the green room. It's like the game Clue. The butler did it.
Just not with the candlestick.
These people don't even know what Clue is anymore.
Attorney David Betras back for round 2 of free legal advice on WFMJ today. We got a lot of questions. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Do I have a choice?
You don't have a choice. You're here, so. All right. This person says they are a federal government employee, and right now they said they're getting bombarded with emails from the newly created OPMHR DOGE run by Elon Musk. They said they were offered a chance to resign with 8 months' worth of salary. The question they have is, does Elon Musk have the authority or even clearance to make that kind of offer? Apparently there's some confusion.
Well, first of all, there's not enough information to know it. If you're civil service, you have some protection there. If you just serve at the will of the government, unless you had a contract, they could fire you. But I would suggest that person get a hold of someone that does federal employment law.
Okay.
And that's just out of our wheelhouse.
All right. This one also from Facebook. They say they bought a washer and dryer from someone on Facebook that sells appliances, and on their post it says there's a 60-day warranty. They brought it home, found out the dryer doesn't work. The guy said he would come and fix it or switch out the dryer, but then has been dodging him since then. So is there anything they can do?
Well, if it's a local person, they could take him to small claims court. That's what it's all about, and say, hey, here's what he promised me, here's what I did. We can go from there.
Okay. This person says, this came from email. It says their car was in an accident. They want to know about the process for filing for diminished value for a vehicle. They have a 2023 Volkswagen Tiguan. Insurance has paid out more than $23,000 worth of repairs. They got their car back. Accident was not their fault. Carfax now has a value for their car at $20,000.
Oh, this is a tough question. So your car's value is worth what a
person's willing to pay.
Person's willing to pay.
See, I've done enough segments with you now.
Right. And so it would be hard if you could get an expert to come in and say, hey, had this car not been in this accident, you have to get it like an expert to say that, it would be worth more. You could try it, but property is property. You know what I'm saying? It's not like pain and suffering and stuff like that. But you could certainly attempt it.
All right. This one came from email. It says they bought their house with $40,000 of their own money. They borrowed $30,000. Sounds like they borrowed it from a friend. It says they were paying back the $30,000 that they borrowed from that person, but they titled it in the friend's name. They said that they both knew she was going to transfer it to me in a year or two. Now, though, she's claiming that they both went in on the partnership on the house and wants to sell it. What rights do they have?
Okay. When I hear stuff like this, it just, I don't mean to laugh. It frustrates me.
Yeah.
How many times in your life do you spend $70,000? And take the little bit of time to a lawyer. Now you're in a lawsuit. You bought yourself a lawsuit. To have the lawyer look over the paperwork wouldn't have been that much, but now you're in a lawsuit. The best thing that person could do, the person that bought it, is say, we created constructive trust, but you don't have any paperwork of that. And the other person says, well, we went in on this together. They don't have any writings. I mean, they just created a lawsuit for themselves is all they did. People, please, when you're buying a home, please, 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 get your own lawyer. When do you spend that kind of money in your life? Okay, it's worth, a pound of, how do they say it? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so the bank's looking out for their interest. The realtor wants to get their money, and the seller wants their money. Who's looking out for you? Who can objectively say to you, oh, no, don't do that. That's what I would have said. No, don't. We're not putting it in their name.
Yeah.
We're going to drop a contract, and they can have a mortgage on the property to protect their $30,000. But if you title something in someone else's name, you got to then figure out to show the court, well, why did you title it in their name if this wasn't the agreement? Mm-hmm. So she's just bought herself a lawsuit.
So basically, you're saying if you make a major investment in something, whether it's a house, a car, something like that, a major purchase.
Well, cars, not so much. Anything under the Uniform Commercial Code, anything you buy over $500, it has to be in writing. So, especially a property, they have what's called a statute of frauds. Mm-hmm. Now, the problem is she titled it in her name. That's going to carry some weight in the court. What's also going to carry some name in the weight in the court is, well, why did you put down $40,000? You didn't intend it as a gift. And then the court's got to figure out, well, was this a constructive trust, or were they really doing it jointly? And now you got to have lawyers, and they got to fight, and then a person in a black robe is going to make a decision on that. And if you'd have just hired a lawyer ahead of time and run you $500,000, look over the paperwork. He'd say, no, don't do that. But didn't happen.
Now filled with regret. We have one more. I got a giggle out of this one, so we had to include it. If they go to a senior center and purchase bingo cards for bingo nights, are they allowed to then share them with whoever they want, or do they have to use them themselves?
They could share them with... Give bingo cards as a gift there. It's like going to the lottery and buying lottery cards and giving them to your friends.
Oh, yeah. They make excellent presents.
Yeah, you're allowed to do that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so B-I-N-G-O, B-I-N-G-O. That's our dog's name, though. You don't even remember what that's from.
Oh, come on.
Do you?
I'm not that young. Come on.
You remember that commercial?
Much as always. Okay, I don't know the commercial, but I know the song. Thank you, Dave. We have much more coming up.